Get this stupid YouTube business
Get
sorted.
this stupid. I'm sitting here going like this. Gem's in the way again now. She's moved to the bottom of that feet.
Oh, well. Anyway. Shall we?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. This is Trainer Talk, the podcast, brought to you by Sharon Gaskin of the Trainers Training Company and me, Ginette Tessier of the Get That Gang. In our weekly show, we cover news and views from our businesses, along with a top-of-mind topic. Of course, it wouldn't be Trainer Talk, the podcast, without the Dog Walking Digest, and every now and again we invite a guest along to share their experience and expertise. After 90 episodes of just audio, we're now on YouTube as well. So feel free to catch up there. Just search for the Trainers Training Company or the Get That Gang, or download us on audio only through your favourite podcast streamer. So why not sit back with a cuppa, make that journey or chore go a little bit quicker with our weekly inspiration for developing your training business. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Trainer Talk, the podcast, and we are at episode number 96. Sharon, we've got a couple of weeks to catch up on, haven't we? So how have you been? How are you doing?
We have, yeah, well, a lot better. Oh, by the way, before we do anything, happy St. David's Day to you.
Yes, happy St. David's Day to you. More to the point, you're second in Wales, but Groundhog Day, huh?
Groundhog Day, but slightly different because this year we got a bunch of daffs from the milkman.
Oh, that's very sweet. You've made friends now.
Nice.
Yeah,
that was really lovely.
That is lovely. Lovely. Definitely.
Of course, we didn't have the milkman this time last year because we only started to have the milkman when we went into lockdown and realised we didn't want to go to the supermarket. So, so we got the milkman. But yeah, it's very nice.
Oh, lovely. Yes. Now, don't you think that that and Paddy's Day are both exercises in excellent, consistent marketing? Because I can tell you when St. David's Day is, and I can tell you when St. Patrick's Day is, obviously the 17th of March. Couldn't tell you when St. George's Day is. And Scotland, what's Scotland's one? St. Andrew?
Andrew's Day.
St. Andrew's Day.
St. George's Day is the 23rd of April, isn't it?
Is it? I have no idea.
St. Andrew's is the 30th of November.
Oh, all right then, girly swap.
Just so that we'll include our English and Scottish people.
Indeed. Well, it's a good job you knew that because I haven't got a clue.
But I do think actually, St. David's Day is obviously sort of celebrated here. I mean, the reason probably you don't know why. The date of St. George's Day is that it's not really a thing in England, is it?
No, that's true.
Whereas in here is the thing. The thing I've noticed since moving here is that the Welsh, they are very patriotic. You see dragons everywhere here.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is kind of nice, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I do think it is that sort of sense of national identity, isn't it? And all that kind of stuff. This is a whole podcast episode on itself, isn't it? The identity and all that kind of thing. I do think it's a real shame because particularly the St. George's flag and all that kind of stuff has so many negative connotations with horrible things like EDL and people that I'm not going to mention because I'm not going to give them publicity. But at the same time, I do think that there's a good marketing effort that's gone into particularly, as I say, St. David's Day, but mainly Paddy's Day. So yeah. Anyway, little sidetrack there. Thanks for that. Happy St. David's Day to you. So what else has been going on over the last couple of weeks?
What else has been going on? Yes, so sorry we didn't have a podcast last week because I was feeling a little bit We believe in being honest here on the podcast, don't we?
Absolutely we do. Absolutely we do. And if it hadn't been you, it would have been me because I was feeling a bit blur the week before. And it's I'm going to say it's one of those things. It's not one of those things. We know precisely what it is, don't we? We do. Ladies of a certain age. But it's one of those things where I think sometimes it's really good to recognise, is this something I can power through
or is this something where I just need to let myself off the hook and be a bit kind? And last week was definitely, it's we need to be a bit kind, and just let it go for a week. You know, nobody's gonna nothing's gonna explode because we haven't done a podcast for a week, and you know, it was all fine.
Absolutely.
So now we have 2 weeks to catch up on.
Have 2 weeks. Well, couldn't push through it last week, I'm afraid. So so here we are. But I've only made notes on what happened last week, I'm afraid. So,
all right then, come on then.
Well, anyway, never mind. But what's happened? So just it was quite a difficult week last week actually, because of that, because of all the hormonal stuff going on. You know, just felt everything. Fortunately, I had like a quieter week last week, you know, with Zooms and things like that. So it wasn't too bad. So, so Friday we had a complete trainer catch-up session, didn't we?
We certainly did. Nice. Yes, good fun.
Our lovely complete trainer people who are, you know, we're thoroughly enjoying working with on the program. So, and it was all about, Friday was all about the online delivery stuff, wasn't it?
It certainly was, yeah. So this month at the moment, so we've got another couple of weeks of this month, because we start the month mid-month for no other reason than we started the whole program in the middle of the month. So we have 2 weeks at the end of the month, and then 2 weeks at the beginning of the month, which makes 4 weeks of concentrating on a particular module, and this one is all about online delivery. Well, I mean, it's entitled delivery, so we do talk about other delivery types, which of course is mainly face-to-face, but it concentrates mainly on online training, because that's the thing that is the newest skill set for people, and particularly pre-recorded online delivery. But what I'm really loving about the group of people, and the ones that are able to be in and working with us in real time, if you like, at the moment, is the light bulbs that we're seeing, and the sort of the work and the effort and the commitment that they're putting in to get to where they need to get to, and bringing us the questions that they are, which is fantastic. So we've still got a lot going on around niching, which is great, because, you know, it's a really important
step.
Keeps
popping up.
It does, but that's because it's so important, and you know, people want to get it right, and it is. I still distinctly remember being in the position where, you know, initially it was kind of scared to niche, and then thinking that I had got my niche, and then realizing that I was nowhere near it, and niching down again, and then niching down again, and then actually sort of expanding back out again, but expanding back out within the niche. And that, I think, it's just such an interesting J-word to go on, and I'm getting so vicariously excited for these people who are all working through this stuff. It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, there's light bulbs definitely going off, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So anything else of note? How's Jem?
Enjoyed that. Oh, Jem is all right. Yes, we'll come on to that on the dog walking section. I tell you what, one thing that happened actually last week, which you'll probably find quite amusing, but I found it really shocking. So I signed up for a free webinar last week via SiteGround. So obviously SiteGround are the people that host my website. And I just looked at this thing. I thought, oh, sounds quite interesting. So it was all about how to drive traffic to your website. More on that later when we come to Top of Mind. So you can see where my thoughts have been this week.
Yeah, I like it.
And this thing popped up, and I thought, oh, okay. I could do it. It was at 5 o'clock. Bless you.
Thank you.
So I did, and I thought, I'm not going to watch the recording. I'm going to show up live because I can do it. So I did. Anyway, so this guy started off, and it was on public webinar. It was on Crowdcast, and people can put in the chat as people as they're watching. Well, one particular person kept commenting in the chat about, I thought this was going to be telling us about how to drive traffic to the website, and I'm still waiting for you to get there, and you keep saying I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, and I'm still waiting. And he just kept going. I thought, oh, there's a real sort of troublemaker here. And then other people started to kind of jump into this, and honestly, it was like this whole thing was happening in the chat about laying into this poor man who was doing this webinar, and then it got quite abusive, sort of,
Oh,
oh,
dear.
this is really boring. Oh, I think I need to get off and do something else now. And I've got better ways to spend my time that, you know, and all this thing. And it was weird because I couldn't concentrate on what this man was saying because I was so busy watching this ridiculous argument. And I kept thinking, well, one, I kept thinking, how rude, you know, how rude, how abusive, how, you know, and if you don't like it, then why are you still here? You keep saying that you're going to go off and do something else, but you're still here and all that kind of stuff. And actually, you know, this is a free webinar. You've been given free information here. There was no selling of any kind. Actually, if they'd have bothered to stop typing stuff in the chat and listen to what he was saying, they actually could probably pick up some, you know, some information. But I was just appalled. I was absolutely appalled. And I left in the end, not because I didn't want to listen to what the guy was saying, because I was so sick of this ridiculous baiting that was going on in the chat.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, bless you. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Yes. Trolls. Gotta love them. Those people that have got nothing better to do than to see what trouble they can cause and see how many people they can gaslight is what they're trying to do effectively. And yeah, I mean, you know, I agree with you absolutely. If somebody is sitting there going, God, this is so boring, I'm going to leave. Well, go on then. Bye-bye now.
And why announce it?
I know.
You know,
I know.
leave.
Completely. And people do it in Facebook groups as well. I'm so fed up with the direction this Facebook group is going. I'm going to leave. It's like, well, you know, by the time you type that, you could have gone. It's like, what's the point in doing it? And I've had it a couple of times in the Facebook group, or one of the Facebook groups that I run, which is kind of, it was never set up intentionally, but it's kind of grown. It's got more than 2,000 members in it now, not all of whom are engaged, but every now and again I get a little trolley type that pops up, and I keep the group very, very clean insofar as it is specifically there to help people with a certain thing, and anything that's outside of that I remove the post. So there's no promos, there's no nothing like that at all. It's just come in, ask your question about this particular tool. We will try and get an answer for you. The community will try and get an answer for you, and that's it. But the moment I get anybody that's kind of, oh, well, this is a rubbish tool in the first place, you'll be much better off using this thing. It's like, no, I'm not having that, because that's not what this group is about. This is not a comparison group. It's not a group where people compare the different tools that are available. It's specifically for using this one tool, and that's it. I had somebody once who I called him out for writing something, and he came back and said, actually, I did answer the question and blah, blah, blah. And if you knew what you were talking, and started personally attacking, or tried to personally attack me. So I said, right, okay, you know, I've politely asked you to amend your post, and you haven't. Instead, you've chosen to personally attack me. I'm leaving this up here so that everybody else can see what happens. You are now being blocked from the group. Goodbye, troll boy. So blocked him out. And then he tried to leave a review on Get That Course Online page saying, this person absolutely hates feedback, won't take feedback, and they don't know what they're talking, and all this kind of rubbish. To which I responded by laughing and saying, listen, you tried to personally attack me when you went against the rules of my group. That's why you're a troll boy. Goodbye. Like this. And it never got past, never got through, never got out into the road, into the world. And it's just like, you know, these people are doing it because some of them have an overinflated sense of self-worth and entitlement. And some of them are doing it because that's what they do for fun. And it's one of those things where, yeah, absolutely, it can really distract you from what you're trying to do. And I do have some sympathy with people, and I've done it. I've turned up to a webinar expecting to be told about one thing, and it's like, okay, they're going to get to the point in a minute. But I've never put in the chat something that's along the lines of, well, this is really boring and you haven't got to the point yet, so I'm off. I just leave. Because it's kind of, well, you haven't got to the point, so I'll go. It's, you know, and I'll, if I get the recording, well, then I can fast forward through the recording and see if there's any snippets in there. You know, I'll tell you when we come to talk about my couple of weeks. I've been in a challenge, a 5-day challenge thing. Just a little bit of competitor research. I say competitor, I mean this guy is like, you know, light years away from where I am. But yeah, it's interesting how some people react to this stuff, isn't it?
It is. Well, I just, you know, I think it just defends my I always consider myself to be you know, quite a respectful and polite person, and it just offends. I just kind of, I can't,
I know.
I don't get how people can be like that.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I know.
how rude, and you see it, and it's not just, you know, I've never seen it before in a live webinar. That's what really shocked me. And I've seen it, you see it on Facebook all the time, don't you? I mean, the vaccine debate is,
God.
oh my God.
There are so many people that I've put on snooze, either temporarily for 30 days or I've unfollowed them, stayed friends, but unfollowed them, because it's just, I don't want to hear your rubbish anymore. I really don't. It's just, it's not scientific.
People that they clearly don't know each other, they respond to it just can be a link, you know, and I think a lot of these news sites, they ask deliberately inflammatory questions.
Of course they do, yeah.
You know, to get a reaction, but then you get thousands and thousands of comments, and they're having their own arguments about the vaccine, and most of them are illiterate and uneducated, can't spell properly, and like, oh my God, I just find it quite staggering.
Trigger warning, yeah.
It's like, well, I'm just so rude.
Yeah,
so
I know,
rude.
I know. But I mean, again, anybody that is an insights practitioner will understand very well at this point that Sharon's rather heavy on the green, and a lot of these people are quite red in their energy preferences and how they communicate, and go about establishing their presence in the world, let's put it that way.
As well.
Yeah.
Not how I would do it.
No, not at all. But that is why you are so successful in building a community. See what I did there?
See what you did there,
yeah. As opposed to just having sort of, you know, some kind of transactional membership group. You want to talk about that? Do you want to?
Yeah. Indeed. Is that going to be coming soon?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll reveal that. We better do the sales page first.
Well, yeah, getting there. I do have something to show you actually on that.
Okay.
We're just talking shop here, listeners and viewers. Don't worry about it. But yes, we will, or will be revealed very soon. Very soon, if I can get my teeth in, clearly, because I can't talk at the moment. Anyway, anything else from your?
No, I think so. That was my week.
Okay,
really.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
so I've had an interesting couple of weeks actually. So sort of highlights really, rather than everything that's going on. Still lots of stuff going on, doing lots of reviews for people at the moment, which is really nice, because it's great that people are having that sort of spring clean type feeling. And in addition, I'm sort of making progress on getting my website sorted and up and together and what I want to do and all that kind of stuff. But what I've also been doing, which I think we've mentioned previously anyway, is I am studying to be a certified master persuader at the moment.
You are indeed. Yes.
Yeah. So today is the third week it's a 12-week program, and so the first week we had to learn about a specific aspect. It's all sort of put into quadrants. So we're on quadrant 1 at the moment. So we had to learn about it 2 weeks ago, and then last week put it into practice by reviewing an offer from, could have been anybody, but the person running it said, you know, you can look at my sales page if you want to. So I thought, right, I will. So a few people have gone and said, oh no, I couldn't possibly look at yours. And I'm thinking, well, no. This has got to be the ultimate test, right? Is the person that's teaching us all about this stuff. If we can do a review of their page, then that will really sort of help us to cement what is and what isn't there, and get the learning in and all the rest of it. So I did it, and got a lovely message back from the from the person running it, going, oh my God, you were much nicer than you could have been. I want to run away and redo my entire sales page now, and all the rest of it. And obviously, you know, this this is Bushra Azar. She is a multi-millionaire. So the sales page isn't that bad, but you know, when you look at the sort of the way the offer is constructed and all that kind of stuff, there's definitely room for improvement, and that I think is a fantastic lesson. You know, she's got an 8-figure business, right? And there are still things that she's learning about what to do and where to put things and how to improve and all the rest of it. So there's no excuse for any of us really to sort of sit back on our laurels and go, yeah, done that, don't need to worry about that anymore. Which again kind of links to what we're going to talk about top of mind, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that was that. And one of the other things that I thought I would do is some of the people were mentioning sort of people that they follow online and people that they think have got some good stuff or good ways of going about things, that kind of thing. And one of them was a guy I've come across before but never really taken much notice of, is called John Assaraf. And he runs something called Neurogym, so neurogym.com. And he was doing a 5-day challenge, which was all about a kind of breakthrough business challenge, I think, something like that. So that's why, I said it's a little bit of competitor research, although, again, this guy is sort of, multi-millionaire and been doing this stuff for 40 years. So, I might learn a thing or two from him. So it was partly to see how he was going about doing his challenge and how he was the sales process, so his upsells and all that kind of thing, and how he was taking people through it and what the email sequences were, and partly to go, well, do you know what, if I yes, it's all about mindset stuff, and I have plenty of places that I have learned that stuff, but also hearing somebody else's perspective about the same thing can bring new insights. So I thought, well, I'll do it from that point of view. And what I've done is I've got the replays of everything, because I couldn't listen to all of it at the time. But it was great, just sort of, taking that on board and listening to some of that stuff. And when I was able to tune in, just picking up a few bits and going, yeah, see, I did know that, but what did I do about it? So it was great because it stimulated all sorts of things for different videos that I was doing in the Get That Gang and that kind of stuff. So that was that. So that's been really interesting. And I've got those to review at some point as well. And he had some really interesting ways of building that up as a money-making vehicle, even though the challenge itself is like $47, I think, something. So 32 quid, I think I was charged. It was nothing really for the amount of training that was in there. If you sort of, set aside all the additional kind of, by the way, you want to really upgrade to the next level at the end and all the sales stuff, well, of course you're going to expect that, aren't you? But fascinating, lots to learn besides the actual stuff that he was teaching. So that was that. And then also I have picked up my new occupational glasses, right? I now have 3 pairs of glasses. Here we go. I have been wearing glasses for distance since I was about 11. And so I wear them for driving. I wear them for watching the TV. I don't tend to wear them in front of the computer because it's not that far. And actually, as I've got older, my eyes have found it more difficult to adjust to different distances. So if I am watching from a distance, my existing glasses are absolutely fine. What I have found over the last probably 3 or 4 years now is that if I have my glasses on, or indeed my contact lenses in, which I wear for skiing, used to wear for hockey, don't play anymore, don't umpire anymore, so I don't wear them for that, but I do wear them for skiing, I can't see close up. My eyes can no longer adjust. So after Christmas, took the plunge, bought myself one of these, just little reader specs, only strength of 1, so, not massive, but just enough that when my eyes are tired or where I'm struggling a little bit to see like the text on my phone or something like that, I can put these little readers on. All well and good, fine, no bother. Quite helpful at night if I'm reading before I go to bed and that it's low light, that kind of thing. So I got a call from Specsavers 3 weeks ago now, something like that, saying, oh, you're due for an eye test. So, oh, all right, okay, fine. He said, we are open and here's our, what we're doing about COVID and blah, blah, blah. So I went in for the eye test and I happened to mention to the optician, or optometrists, they're not called opticians anymore, they're called optometrists, aren't they? I happened to mention that occasionally when I've had a lot of screen time, my eyes get really, really tired. And the screen is a little bit blurry and I can't seem to focus properly, which I had assumed was because I was having too much screen time without a break and, give my eyes a rest, that kind of thing. So I mentioned that to him and mentioned the little readers that I'd bought. He's like, oh, no, let the glasses do the work. We'll get you some occupational glasses for that. Your eyes shouldn't have to do the hard work. Let the glasses do the work. So I now have a pair of very focal glasses, which are specifically for the distance between me to my computer, and also in case I need to look down and see close up. So I've got an extra pair of glass. So I now have 3 pairs of glasses. In fact, I have 4 because I have a pair of sunglasses, which are prescription distance sunglasses.
I have loads of them.
And it's just, for God's sake, how ridiculous is this? Because the thing is, it's not now, because my eyes are older now, I can't get varifocal contact lenses. So there's no point in having contact lenses. I have to have glasses. But of course, I have all this, and you know, I know what somebody would say the answer is, you know, you have to have varifocal for long distance, shorter distance, and close up. Well, that's just ridiculous, because then I'd have to look through the top to see proper distance, through the middle to see the computer. And I'm not doing it. It's crazy. But it's just like, oh, really? Okay. But I have to say, it's taken me a little while to kind of get used to them. But every now and again, and I'm trying to sort of wear them every day, apart from the weekend. I didn't wear them at all over the weekend, but I'm trying to wear them for a little bit every day. Because he did say, try them for 3 months, and if they don't help, then, you know, come back and we'll see what's next. But I have to say, every now and again, it's just like, actually, my eyes are feeling a little bit tired, so I'll put them on for a bit. And once I get used to where I can look, I can't just look straight ahead and then glance down. I have to actually look down, because otherwise I'm looking through the wrong part of the lens, so it goes blurry again. And it's like, oh God, that, and having to get used to when I've got my readers on, I can't look up, I have to look over the top of them. And then when I've got my distance glasses on, if I want to look close, I have to look underneath them. So all these different movements I've got to learn just to accommodate all my different pairs of glasses. It's crazy. But I quite like them. I quite like them. They're similar colour to yours, actually.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. They're very nice.
They're all right, aren't they? They're all right.
Yeah, very nice.
So
yeah. I didn't get on with varifocals at all.
Didn't you?
I mean, I didn't ever order any, but I think I tried some in the optician. I thought, oh no, that's way too much for way too many movements for me to get my head around there. So I'll just have 2 pairs of glasses, please. So I'm the same. I have have to have these for reading and the computer. Then I have to have another for like this, only for driving really, because when I walk about, I don't need glasses, and if I'm out dog walking or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just really for driving. So I have distance glasses, which are another pair. And then the same with sunglasses, because I have to have sunglasses for driving. There's a distance, sunglasses for reading.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's the other thing. I haven't even thought about having different pair like sunglasses like these for reading. Or I mean, I wouldn't do computer work in the sun, but I might read in the sun. So I probably need a pair of reader.
You do, yeah. You'll need that. And so
5 pairs. Then
they insist on. I always have to have at least 2 pairs of reading glasses at any one time, because if you lose them, you're absolutely buggered. So you need to have backups. Or at one time I stood on one pair.
Oh, no.
Like, oh my God, I didn't have enough. I didn't have it. So once I'd stood on them, I was like, no. I need to have at least 2 or 3 pairs, because I can't do my work if I can't see.
That's true. That's true.
But the one thing, I've got lots of different pairs of glasses, but the one thing I've been very lucky at is that my prescription has been the same for about 4 years.
Yeah.
So I've been good. Some people that every year they're having a new prescription, aren't they?
Definitely. So, yeah. I mean, I'm on a 2-year cycle, I think. And he said, your distance vision, which isn't unusual as you get older, your distance vision actually improves a little bit. But he said it's not enough to change your prescription on your main glasses. And I have to say, the cynical part of me thought, oh right, so because I don't need new glasses for distance, you're going to try and sell me a different pair of glasses, so you still get the money coming in. But it's one of those things where you think there's no reason for me not to try this. Right. So let's try it and see how it goes. I don't think I will wear them for recording any videos or anything like that, quite apart from anything else. Of course, they reflect on my ring light, so I'd have to get a whole new lighting set up, and I can't be bothered doing that. There's no need on that. And most of the time I don't need them. I can see perfectly adequately to see the computer. But just every now and again I think, actually, no, they are feeling a bit tired. I'll give them a break, a little bit of a break. So it's useful from that point of view. But they kind of sit permanently by the computer, really. So that's kind of the highlights, apart from stuff we've already mentioned of my last couple of weeks. So there we go. Shall we move swiftly and smoothly into our top of mind topic for this week?
Yes, we should indeed. Well, you mentioned spring cleaning.
Yes.
That's probably a better topic than mine, which is you know, which is sort of paying attention or close attention to detail. Oh, this sun is driving me
It
crazy.
is. Do you want to adjust and rather than leaning on your chair, adjust your chair and your computer again so we can get you in the right spot?
I don't think I've got much of a...
You haven't got much further to go. That works. That works for now.
Oh, that is the problem when you start, because the weather has been so awful that I haven't had it. But last week when it started getting sunny, I was like, oh, I remember what it was like this time last year now. And I suffered for months, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need to have to get blinds sorted. Well, we do have blinds, but the problem is we don't have blinds in the top windows. And that's at the moment when the sun is at this height and at this time of day, that is exactly where it's shining in.
Yeah.
And so it's very annoying.
It is.
So that's why I'm like going like this. I'm not drunk, honestly. I'm just like...
First thing on a Monday morning. Let's hope not.
Oh my God, exactly. So spring cleaning or paying attention to details. So something happened, didn't it, over the weekend, which, has been... was an interesting exercise. So I, as a result of Anna Marsden, the wonderful Anna Marsden, one of our lovely trainers members, she did a session recently on Google Analytics.
Yes, good session.
Which reminded me, one of the questions that she asked at the start of the session was, you know, who has Google Analytics installed on their website? Yay! Mm-hmm. You know, who gets a report every month telling them about their analytics? Yeah. Who actually looks at the report? Who actually does anything with the report? And I realised that I definitely fall into that category because you know that this kind of work, you know, doesn't float my boat. Mm-hmm. You know, looking at stuff, looking at numbers, looking at figures,
detail,
all that kind of stuff. Anyway, but over the weekend, because it was just another lockdown weekend where all I was really able to do was just hang around the house. I just suddenly got that. I thought, oh, I'll have a look at my Google Analytics. So I went into the Google Analytics for the website, and it brings up the your most popular pages. And I looked at the popular pages and thought, that's interesting, because that Associate Alert Service page, which for years and years and years has been, without question, the most popular page, doesn't feature. And I'm like, well, that could be why we haven't had anybody signing up for it recently, because nobody's looking at it. Yeah. So then I thought, well, okay, must just be because of COVID or whatever. What, you know. So then what I did, I then went right back to sort of pre-March 2021, and again looked at the page, and it was top of the list. And then I went, okay, let's have a look at March 2020, because I bet it's going to go right down. No, it didn't.
Yeah.
All right. I look at April. No, it didn't. I look at May. No, it didn't. Okay, right. And then bizarrely, between June and November, we had no analytics at all. Really? So I don't know what happened.
No idea.
To the website.
Very odd. It's very, very odd. Because nothing changed as far as, I mean, you know, the code was still there. The feed should have still been there. So, you know, what happened there and why you didn't get any warnings as well. Was very odd. Anyway,
you know, but point being, if I'd have looked at it,
yes. If you
I would have discovered it a lot earlier.
I know. I was trying to let you off lightly there, but there's no doing it, is there? Yeah.
Guilty as charged. Yeah. Guilty as charged, which is the whole point of this discussion.
Absolutely.
So and then it reappeared again in November. So from November through to present day, which is the end of February, then we've got a full set of data, and still. This associate alert page was not on the top pages viewed. Yeah. And I was like, this is hard. So this is really weird. So I had a little conversation with you, because you were obviously still hanging around the house as well.
Of course.
And, you know.
Nothing better to do.
And I said, didn't we change the name of that page? Because it used to be called Freelance Trainer Looking for Work. And now it's called something different. And that led to a whole series of, oh, my God, yes. What was your take on it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So when you were saying, the thing that sprung to mind was the time previous to this where we'd refreshed the website. I remember having the conversation with you that said, don't change the URLs, the names of the pages, because they're really popular. And then for some reason, when the new structure came through for the website, we had originally 3 pages for the associate alert. So one was the main page, which was this looking for work page. One was the page about the associate alert itself and recent opportunities. And the other one was for training companies looking for trainers. And for some reason, only 2 of the pages made it through. And the one that was top of the tree for popularity, looking for work, never made it through. Didn't even think about it in everything else that was going on, because this was a complete overhaul. It was like, right, that page, we've got the recent opportunities, haven't changed the name of recent opportunities because I remember the conversation with Sharon, so we'll keep that. And that one goes there. And then we've got looking for trainers, and that one goes there. Yep, brilliant, great, no problem. And then as soon as you said about this other page, it's like, oh yeah, there was a 3rd page. What's happened to that one? So found it. The page was still on the website, but hadn't been put into the new design and hadn't been added into the menu structure. So even though people could still get to it, because it wasn't there in front of them, nobody was clicking on it. Because it wasn't part of navigation. So it was a relatively easy fix to do in terms of just bringing it up to the new design. We had to add a few extra bits in, didn't we, to make sure that it properly represented the huge value actually that associate alert subscribers get, and sort of, you know, a few bits and pieces in there, and obviously update the payment links, because they were going to the old Kajabi system still, and then replace it on the website. So you and I both sitting here, fingers crossed, that it will come back to the top of the tree again, because it's now properly represented on the website, which is good. But it just goes to show, you know, if you keep an eye on these things, then you can spot them when they happen, and you know, sort of catch these little bits that don't make it through. Because you were saying, has this page name changed? No, I definitely didn't change the name of the page, and of course I hadn't changed it to the name of any pages. It's just that page hadn't made it through into the new refresh, but all rectified now. So
all rectified now. So thank you very much for doing that.
No
so promptly on Saturday. But you know, I guess the moral of the tale here, you know, the wider point is really that, you know, how easy it is to just sort of not be on top of those things. And, you know, if I hadn't have had that thought on Saturday and started delving down that particular rabbit hole, I could still be sitting here. It may not be that. It may not be that why we have this particular problem, but I kind of thinking it is.
Yeah, I agree.
It seems to be the most obvious thing. But, you know, but how long? I mean, this has been going on since, you know, for months. So sort of about 8-9 months, you know. Well,
I mean, the issue with there being no Google Analytics data at all between June and November, I mean, we're both, that's a mystery. No idea about that one. But I think from November, why this page dropped off is because it wasn't there. So we know that for sure. We can fix that bit. So I think the question now is to get it into your routine, to look at the Google Analytics every month, just so you can catch these things earlier. And then if you get a month where there's no data coming through, it's like, well, hang on, why is this? And what's going on? Because I shouldn't think there's anybody that would be able to let you know exactly what had happened and why there was no data coming through. I mean, Google would probably turn around and say, well, you know, you didn't have the tracking information on your website, but we didn't change any of the tracking information, didn't take it off. It was exactly the same from May to June, and yet May we've got figures and June we don't. So, you know, who knows?
But, you know, it is so easy to just to not look at those things because they're not, you know, they're not top of your priority list.
That's true.
But actually they should be. And they are not, and for people like me who, you know, I'm not a detail-orientated person. If you look at my insights profile, you will see that my blue, which is basically hardly there. So it doesn't float my boat. So for somebody like me, then it's always going to be hard to, you know, to do those things. And I think what I have been guilty of, because I've now got lots of different people in my team doing lots of different things, it's actually, which is really nice in one way, because it means that you, in your head, you think you don't have to go and look at those things, but actually you do, because you're, as the business owner or the CEO of your business or whatever you want to call yourself, you are still responsible for that. You shouldn't assume that people are doing things, and you know, there's all that kind of things. It just taught me a little, and I thought, oh, I need to I do a bit of spring cleaning. I need to get on top of things. I need to sort of have my eye on the ball. I need to look at, things. I mean, I know Shane is very good at looking at things like failed payments, but all those little things that you just sort of think, what else? It's got me thinking, what else is there in my business that I need to pay attention to that potentially could be having quite a big impact without me really being aware of it?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it also sort of got me thinking about little things about closing the loop on certain things and keeping an eye on stuff and just making sure that, okay, it's all very well getting this set up, but what about it's the ongoing stuff, isn't it? The keeping an eye on it. And I think you're absolutely right. I think you don't or you shouldn't abdicate responsibility as the business owner, but there is a difference between paying somebody to do a specific job and letting them doing it, and then wasting your time going around and checking every little thing. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is just keeping an eye and going, right, I'm expecting this to have happened. Has it happened? Yes, brilliant. Or no, it hasn't. Okay, I need to look a bit further as to why it hasn't happened. That's the level of sort of oversight, I guess, that we're talking about. Because outsourcing is absolutely something that you have to do, but you have to trust the person to do what you've asked them to do, but also not to the extent of just not checking the result of what you've asked them to do is what you're expecting. Because if it's not delivering what you're expecting, then how do you know it's working? How do you know it's worth paying the person to do that thing in the first place? So yeah. There's always a lesson.
So there you go. Spring cleaning.
yes. What are you spring cleaning this week? Hey, listeners?
Yes.
Do tell. All right. So on to the Dog Walking Digest. How's Jem?
Well, she made an appearance just now. She's down at my feet, and now she's wandered over to the sofa. But so she's. I think we're doing a little bit of retraining with her because this business of going out, in the night of the week. Well, when she, has other half at the weekend. Honestly, she barely goes out. She goes out once, and I've come to the conclusion that certain people are probably stricter than other people in this house. So I decided to because I was back on the sofa, because we've got this arrangement now where I do Monday to Friday, Sunday to Thursday, and he does Saturday and Sunday night. So Friday night and Saturday night. So last night I was obviously back on the sofa again with Jem, and so I put it to the test. So instead of when she started snuffling around at sort of 1 o'clock and padding around, and I just thought I'm going to lie her and I'm just going to ignore her, and I'm just going to I could hear her, and then eventually I heard her and I was like, I think she's gone back to sleep. She did. And then she woke up again at like 3:30, and she was a bit more insistent this time. I thought, okay, that's fine. So I did let her out at 3:30. And that was it. Just once last night.
Oh, well, good experimentation.
So I'm thinking, is there something about dogs and, habits and training them and all the rest of it? Because she knows that when she comes to me, I immediately jump up off the sofa and let her out.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that. I mean, it's exactly the same when I think I mentioned this previously, but when I'm up at Mum's and all three of us, Mum, John and I, we're all eating exactly the same thing, but the two dogs are sitting by my mother. It's like they know where the soft touch is. Cheese and biscuits. Yeah, we'll get some cheese from her for sure. It's like, don't even bother looking at me or looking at John, because it's like, no, we're not going to get anything from them. Let's go straight to the source where we're definitely going to get some food. But yeah, they know. They know.
Of course they know. I know. So we're going to I'll carry on with my experiments and see if I can just get away with getting up once.
Yeah.
That'll be nice, because I think this was adding to my woes last week, because on top of all the hormones that were raging around my body, I was like getting up 4 times in the night as well, which was just not really making me feel fantastic.
No, that's not going to be conducive to feeling great the next day, is it? And sleep is so important. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, It's good that your experiment has been successful so far. We look forward to hearing how it continues.
An update next week. Yes,
definitely. Well, last time I think we talked about the dog walking digest. On the last podcast, I was talking about Mum's dog Copper and how he'd not been very well, and steroids and all the rest of it. Vast improvement now, which is great. And he's now starting to get back up to doing proper walks and that kind of thing, because it was really bad. And he's still got a little bit of swelling in, I think it's his left throat gland, left or right, doesn't really matter. You know, he's still not 100%, which we knew it was going to take a long time to recover, but he is responding to the medicine. So that's all good, all fine and dandy. Scamp, on the other hand, not ill at all, but getting increasingly strong when trying to chase cats. So the other day, was it Saturday morning? Yeah, it must have been. Got his collar on, got his lead on in the morning to take him out for his morning walk, and we got in and we go past my bit of garden to get out onto the main road to go down to the park, and there was clearly a cat or something in the garden. Now, the way the sun comes round, it shines directly in your eyes when you're standing kind of in front of the garden. So the road's here, and I look this way to get to the garden, and the sun is right in my eyes, so I can't see what's going on, and I've got some sunglasses on, but I'm trying to, you know, he's obviously straining because there's a cat in the garden. It's the only thing that would make him strain like that. And before I'd got the opportunity to bend down and you know, release the lead so he could at least chase after this cat, because otherwise he'd throttle himself, his collar broke. So it's like, oh no. Okay, so he, you know, he managed to break the little pin that holds the buckle onto the collar itself, the fabric. So it's like, great, brilliant. Okay, so I had to take him back inside. It's like, do I have a spare collar? I'm sure. Have I got? And of course, I've still got the very old Dogs Trust collar that they gave him when I first got him. So it's like, right, okay, you'll have to wear that and go out. So I ordered him a new collar and lead over the weekend, and for various reasons got it sent to Mum's house, because then it comes straight away. But the calculations, I'd measured his neck and I'd measured his old collar. Right, so according to them, this is the calculation they want, and that's the size of collar I need. No, far too big, but this thing's leather, luckily, so it's only one size too big, so I've managed to punch an extra couple of holes in it. I still might buy the size down anyway and just have this one as a spare one. So it's funny, because obviously he couldn't care less what collar and lead he's got, but it's like, no, he has to be smart. I'm not even going out in his Dog's Trust collar. So it's beautiful little sort of, I'd call it cornflower blue, maybe. It's not light blue. It's probably actually a similar colour to the wall behind me, thinking about it, but it's very nice, but obviously it's leather, so it needs to break in a little bit, but yeah, so he's got his smart collar on, smart lead and all the rest of it, so his owner's happy, even if he couldn't care less whether he's got a collar and lead on the match or anything like that. So that was a bit of fun and excitement for him, but now the evenings are getting lighter. He's definitely going to start asking for his third walk a day, and it's like, oh, can I get him to hold out until restrictions have lifted, so that you know, because I can take him for a couple of walks and not see anybody, and that's fine, but with the lighter evenings and with people going back to work and all that kind of stuff, it's going to get increasingly difficult to not take him for a third walk, because he'll want to. But I've been trying to sort of wake up a little bit earlier, because of course at the end of this month the clocks go forward, so we lose an hour, and I keep thinking every time I wake up in the morning, right, it says 7 o'clock, but actually it's 8 o'clock, or it will be 8 o'clock in 4 weeks, right? Okay, and trying to get out, not working so far. 1st of March, and already I haven't succeeded in what I'm trying to do. So we'll call it an experiment, and we'll try again tomorrow. But the whole idea is that I gradually get the walk earlier and earlier, so by the time the clocks go forward, it just feels like normal to be going out at that time. That's the plan anyway. Not done brilliantly so far. But there we are. All right.
There we are. Right. Okay. Well, I think we're done for this week.
I think we are. I think that was quite a long one, actually.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
We had 2 weeks to catch up on. Actually, not too bad. Just over 3/4 of an hour, so that's all right.
Yeah,
That's all right. Brilliant. Well, thank you as always for your time, patience, your attention, lovely listeners, lovely viewers. And sorry about Sharon having to do the sun dance. She'll be right over like this eventually on that one. But we will see you again next week for where are we? Next week is 97, isn't it? Ooh, getting close.
Episode 97.
Close to our centenary. It's very exciting. All right, everybody. Take care. See you again soon. Bye.